Hey guys, like I said last week, we're going to be diving deep today. We're going to be talking about my why for doing this competition. So let's get started. Okay, so this is going to be pretty challenging for me. I don't have any notes or anything, so I'm just going to talk from my heart and show you guys some pictures and tell you how this all came to be. So first of all, I was kind of groomed to believe that the only importance you have in the world is how good looking you are. Both of my parents were, in my opinion, rather attractive. And my mother um, and all of her sisters and all of my cousins were in a beauty pageant. It was something that my grandmother's salon did. So there's another thing, right? My mother's mother was a beautician. So this is kind of a trickle down effect of, being beautiful is what's relevant and what's valid in the world. So that's where I grew up and that's where I was groomed. And my father was harsh. Um, he was honest and he very much made it very clear to me that the more attractive I was, the more valuable I would be to not only him, but to every other man on the planet. And I'm going to kind of just leave that there. A lot of that is in my autobiography, which will be released later this year, hopefully. I've got a lot of irons in the fire right now. But so anyway, having said all that, when I was not able to compete in that beauty competition because they had eliminated that for very valid reasons before I was of age to participate in that beauty pageant. So I was never able to prove to myself that I was worthy by winning a beauty pageant. And as life went on and as I became more and more I don't know, sick mentally. I mean, that's the bottom line. Started drinking and drugging at a very early age. And at the age of 15, discovered bodybuilding. And that's when my best friend Samantha and I started going to Gold's Gym and working out. And I discovered that I could get my aggression out, I could get my anger out, I could get my feelings out on the weights, on the plates. And so I became obsessed with bodybuilding. That's the bottom line. And now going back when I was about 5 years old, I remember meeting a man who my grandfather knew who had actually won the Mr. Universe competition. And I remember thinking like he was the most important person I had ever met in my life. I don't know why. I just remember thinking, my God, this is amazing. This is a true accomplishment. And then at the age of, I don't know, 10 or 11, I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger and I thought, my God, again, just the most beautiful human being. That must take so much willpower and energy. And I guess, I was kind of surrounded by people, my parents in particular, who were not very healthy and didn't really care about themselves or their bodies or being stand-up citizens at all. So I really emulated toward people like Arnold Schwarzenegger who were bodybuilding. Now, having said all that, when I was working out at Gold's Gym, it became very apparent to me that I was never going to be the type of person that would be able to compete because of my physique. I am very lean, very lean. Like I was taking weight gainer like 4 times a day trying to build muscle. And, these girls are huge. There's just no way. And at that point, I wasn't willing to take steroids or anything like that, which is ironic because, of course, I became a drug addict later. So at any rate, Samantha got killed in a drunken driving accident at the age of 15 while we were kind of in the midst of our bodybuilding endeavor. And I stopped bodybuilding. I thought that I couldn't do it without her and have not done it for 30 years. So this is kind of like this healing journey for me to be able to kind of let her go and also honor her life by doing that. So that's one component. But the other component, and the less healthy component, I think, is that that piece that tells me I'm not valuable unless I look good. And as I age and everything starts, going south and I get wrinkles and my hair is gray and all of these things start to happen. I found it completely unacceptable and started getting back into athletics pretty seriously. And I did 2 Tough Mudders and then COVID hit. And so I've done a lot of virtual stuff. I have a lot of swag and a lot of hardware from all of these 5Ks and Tough Mudders and all these virtual events that I did. And they were fun, but it basically was just keeping me at an even keel. What I really wanted to do was World's Toughest Mudder or bodybuilding. And so just for sake of time, because as you know, I don't like to make these videos long and it's going to be long today. I just want to say that I was able to do a virtual 24-hour event, Tough Mudder, with my friend Davin, and it was a blast and it was really great, but it wasn't the real thing, you know? So again, I've never really pushed myself until this past week. This past week was the first time in my life I David Goggins my ass, right? That the You Can't Hurt Me. I'll put a picture of that up. The Can't Hurt Me book, which is kind of where this all started. My dad was a Marine. I always wanted to be a Marine. I failed on that miserably. So the Tough Mudders were kind of my way of saying, I can do that. I'm worthy, whatever. So anyway, long story short, I had given up the dream of ever, getting on stage or being, important or beautiful or anything. When becoming an exotic dancer or stripper fell into my lap, and I took advantage of that. I thought that was the first and last time I was ever going to be on a stage, and it was the first and last time I was ever going to be validated as a dancer and as a woman and as being beautiful. And hopefully, through this process, that will not be true. Hopefully, I will be able to get on stage again and be validated. But as I said in my last video, what I'm really hoping is that through my sessions with my spiritual director and through doing these vlogs and through doing a lot of soul searching over the next 9 months, hopefully my motivation for getting on stage won't be quite as sick, right? Like right now, it's just basically, I want to prove to the world that I'm not old. I want to prove to myself that I'm valid, that I'm beautiful, that I matter. And of course, not getting on stage at a bikini competition doesn't prove any of that. And I know that in my head. But when it's been pounded down your throat by not only your parents, but your extended family and all of the music videos in the 1980s, you guys, okay? Like every man I've ever dated, all of my friends, society, magazines, sitcoms, all of it, okay? I have been groomed to believe that my worth is in my looks. And so part of this journey is going to be undoing that belief. And also proving that I can get on stage. So it's this double-edged sword. But I want you to know it isn't just that. This is something I have always wanted to do my whole life. And when I started working with Andy, I guess it was 4 years ago now, at Animal House, the funniest thing in the world happened. Now, Andy is a bodybuilder, competitor, huge. I'll show you a picture. And I was pretty elated to be working with her because she had done the competition. But again, I never in a million years thought I could do something like that. And one day I was walking past a poster and I saw a girl that was built like me on stage in a bikini doing a competition. And I said to Andy, my God, what is that? I want to do that. I can do that. And she said, that's not a real competition. That's bikini class. That's Bikini Division, whatever. And I can understand her thoughts. And to some degree, I actually agree with that because of where I've come from, because of the old school bodybuilding. These girls are smaller, and the whole point is to look pretty like a Barbie doll, which is not what bodybuilding was to me in my head before. So it'll be interesting to me to see how that changes or whatever, because, at my age, sometimes you got to take what you can get. And the fact that I can get on stage as a bikini competitor is something I'm going to take advantage of. Although I will say I would really, really love to do a different division. So I'm just going to plant that seed right there. And we'll talk about that later as it gets closer. But Even if I do Bikini Division this year, I'm probably going to want to do physique next year. I mean, figure. I always call it physique. Figure. So anyway, long story short, my motives for doing this are mixed. Part of it is healthy. That, you know, there is a healthy degree of wanting to stay healthy as I get older and wanting to stay fit and, you know, wanting to be capable, right? I don't want to be in a wheelchair or having somebody take care of me. I mean, those are obvious reasons. And if I can get my baseline here, if I do have an injury or an illness and I fall back, I'll still be able to get back to where I was. And in order to get it here, I feel like I need that goal of competition because I just don't have the willpower. Like, I just love sugar too much. That's the bottom line. So there's that, but there's also honoring Samantha's life and doing what I've always wanted to do for 30 years, which is get on stage as a physique competitor. And then there's the validation piece, the revenge body piece that says, you know, screw you, I can do this. And that's the piece I'm going to work on. And that's the piece that I want to be healthy, but not prideful, if that makes sense. Like, I still want it to be there, obviously. I still like it to be motivating to get me on that stage, but I don't want to be so prideful about it. So anyway, there it is. There's my heart. There's where I'm at. I am working diligently on checking my motives. And, you know, as always, I check in with God every single day. I check in with Jesus every single day. I am on my face praying every evening to make sure this is what he wants, because I am not going to go against whatever the Lord wants for me for my life. And the minute he says stop, I'm going to, even if that's the day before competition. But so far, the path has really been laid out quite smoothly. And it seems to me very much like I'm on the right path to be following God's will and my own will. So that's pretty cool when that happens. So sorry this is so long and I hope I didn't bore you to death. I don't know. That's it. Oh, I do want to say one more thing. I don't see who subscribes to my channel. If you have your settings on private, I don't see who subscribes. And I also don't even see who likes my videos. I don't know if there's a way to do that. If somebody knows of it, let me know, because I cannot figure out how to see who's even watching these videos, which is really unfortunate, because then, you know, people are getting mad at me like, well, yeah, I liked your video. And I'm like, okay, I didn't even know you watched it. So I don't know how YouTube works. I don't know if I'm missing something or if there just isn't a way to do it, but I'm going to put my email up here, and I really would love for you guys to tell me that at least you're watching it. Just let me know that you're watching these videos, but also what you're liking, what you're not liking, and what you'd like to see more of, you know, if anything, or less of, for that matter. So anyway, have a great weekend, and I will talk to you guys next week. Thanks.